To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to Mouse House. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Mouse House Pod. And this one is Tangled. So we decided obviously not to draw out of a hat for this one and just choose. And because Aaron hadn't seen Tangled before,
I haven't.
We thought we'd go with this one. Now, one thing I haven't told you, Aaron, is there's a secret part to the beginning of this podcast, which I haven't told you about.
Oh, no.
And it's called the 60-second challenge.
Oh, no.
Which is where we've each got to describe the film.
Okay.
What happens.
Oh, my God.
In 60 seconds, ad lib. You're not allowed to write any notes about it. You're not allowed to know anything. You just have to go. So I would like you to describe Tangled, and you must do it in less than 60 seconds. On your marks, get set, go.
Okay, so Tangled is an animated feature film, and it stars the main character, Rapunzel, who was born of a royal family, and this evil woman basically steals her as a child. And they end up living in this tower where she's not allowed to leave. And she actually has magical abilities. Her hair glows when she sings, and she's able to heal wounds and stop people from being old. This is why the old woman stole her, to keep her young. Then we have our Flynn character, who basically they encounter each other because he has stolen the crown jewels from the royal family. And they kind of become interconnected, and she wants to see the lanterns, which is a light show that they let these so they let these lanterns out because the princess is missing. It's like a celebration, and we're missing her, sort of thing. She wants to see them up close, so basically she will give him the jewels back when he takes her to see it in person, and the old woman, the mother, goes after her and comes up with this devilish plan to get her back.
Then what?
Am I still going?
You've got to describe the whole film.
Okay, so...
I would like to point out that you've already failed because you're a minute and a half already. So, but keep going. Come on, as quick as you can.
Okay, so where was I?
That they were going to watch the lanterns.
Okay, so they go and watch the lanterns. That they've fallen in love at this point. And she then realises who she is because she sees the mural of her and her parents, and it all comes flashing back, and she ends up... This is really difficult. I can't remember what happens after this point. Well, basically...
Come on, we just watched it yesterday.
There's so many elements to the story. It's so difficult. You can't believe you put me on this spot.
Come on, you can do it.
Okay,
so Mother Gothel was not happy when she realised who she was. They had an argument. Then what happened?
Oh, okay, so she realised who she is. And Mother's like, no, I did this to protect you. You need to stay here forever and all this kind of thing. So then basically she stabs Flynn. And she basically says, I will stay here if you let me heal Flynn. But then Flynn cuts her hair off, which essentially what we believe is loses her power. And the queen then becomes old because she's 200 years old.
Not the queen.
No, sorry. The mother then becomes old again, and she basically falls out the tower and turns into dust. And then it's all happily ever after. She gets back to her parents. And...
Wait, but how does Flynn survive?
Oh, she's healed because the power's actually in her tears. Yeah.
Okay, so that was 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Hopefully the next one will do better.
Yeah, that was appalling. I know I sprung that on you, but that was bad. So should we go for my attempt?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, I'm just going to get my little trusty stopwatch here. Okay, so... Tangled follows the story of Rapunzel and also Flynn Rider, who is currently on the run from the royal guards because of the fact that he'd stolen the crown from the queen. Rapunzel, so when he's running away, he climbs up the tower, finds Rapunzel. Rapunzel smacks him over the head and then tells him that he can have the crown back if she takes him to see the floating lanterns. She wants to see the floating lanterns because she thinks they mean something to her because it happens every day on her birthday. They go on an unlikely adventure in a story all the way through to the town where they see it. They fall in love, standard Disney film. Then when they come back, Mother Gothel's not happy about it. She kind of figures out that she was probably the lost princess. Mother Gothel tries to stop her from going, stabs Flynn, and then she uses her tears to heal Flynn, and he's healed. They go back to the Queen. They live happily ever after. 56 seconds. It's not easy, I'll give you that.
It's not easy because you're trying to get all these thoughts in a coherent sentence.
But there you go. You know for next time now. But you're not allowed to write anything down next time. So that's the summary of the story anyway.
Okay.
So the next portion we're going to do is a trivia challenge. So this is our way of challenging each other to see who was paying attention to the film the most. So would you like to start?
Yes. After you put me on the spot, I'm going to try and get you now.
I'm hoping that you haven't got the same questions as me, but we'll figure that out.
Crossed. So the first question I've got is, there is a mime in the film.
There is.
How many times does he appear on the screen?
4?
Well done.
Is it actually?
It's actually 4.
That is incredible.
Can you name those 4 times?
There's no.
So there is...
At the Snuggly Duckling.
At the Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah.
There is in the castle, when they first appear there.
Okay.
Second time is during the fight. There's a fight at the castle. And then the last time he's there when he's playing the piano, and it kind of shows the aftermath of everything.
Nope,
so yeah,
my turn now.
Your turn.
What did Rapunzel hit Flynn over the head with on their first encounter?
Frying pan.
Correct. I tried to make them easy for you as you hadn't seen the film.
Okay, so what colour are Rapunzel's eyes?
Green.
Well done.
What age is Rapunzel about to turn?
Oh my god. 18.
She is.
And what weapons do the guards use on the top of the castle against Maximus and Flint? You know, he does that big leap on Maximus over the castle wall.
Oh, is it bow and arrows?
Close.
Crossbow.
Crossbow, there you go.
Oh, come on. My final question for you is, what is the name of the local pub where I Have a Dream? I Have a Dream? Yeah, I Have a Dream is sung.
The Snuggly Duckling.
Well done, but we just said that.
Fun fact there, it was actually originally called the Jaunty Moose.
It was the Jaunty Moose. I prefer the Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah, I do as well.
So, speaking of fun facts, Tangled was originally not called Tangled. So it was actually originally called Rapunzel Unbraided.
Oh.
But the reason they changed it is because the film that came out before it was The Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Which had quite low turnover.
Box office, yeah.
Yeah. And they were worried about it being too girly. And obviously, as you know from watching that film, it's not really the most girly film.
No.
Obviously, it is a Disney princess film, but it's not that much of a girly story.
No, it's really not.
And they were worried that because of The Princess and the Frog, it would have low numbers again.
Right.
So they renamed it Tangled to try and make it a bit more gender neutral.
Okay.
So...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
We're going up on the world already.
Rapunzel Unbraided.
Sounds like Matrix.
So the history and fun facts behind Toy Story that I've got for you. It was originally Rapunzel Unbraided, then they changed it to Rapunzel. Then they changed it to Tangled. Was originally going to be a ventriloquist dummy. As well as that, Tangled was one of the most expensive animation ever.
Well, I mean, since area is scary enough as it is, let alone having Woody as a blooming ventriloquist dummy.
Actually scares the crap out of me.
That Toy Story 3, Cars 2,
they basically thought it was too
much like horror films. All cost 200 million.
So they didn't do it.
So it was 60 million more expensive. Rotten Tomatoes score is 100%. I think it kind of makes sense because it is visually...
I don't even dismiss that.
Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 both have 100%, and Toy Story 3 has 99. First happens upon that tower. Toy Story 2 is the worst of the 3.
Yeah, even when you say it's the worst, it's not a bad film.
No, it's a brilliant film, but it's the worst of the 3.
Yeah, get washed up. Hopefully Toy Story 4 won't change that.
The film had a budget of 30 million.
For the first time you see like the grass and then the water,
Tangled, which had
it just looks real.
Yeah,
but then you've got to look at inflation and...
Well, yeah, I know, but
30 million in the 90s was a lot of money.
It's
animated.
30 million versus 260.
It's a complete different.
But it made 373 million, which is almost as much as Tangled.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
So it being costing 260 million,
Pizza Planet truck, as we know, is an icon of Toy Story.
So in fact, I'm wearing a Pizza Planet delivery hoodie 89%
right now,
that's pretty good.
which is epic, and I got from the Disney store and I'm obsessed with. And we actually had an argument over this hoodie.
Yeah, we did.
Because we bought it.
It was for a best song.
And then had an argument over who was going to get
song.
it.
Yeah.
And we spent
It's gonna
a
be,
good 10 minutes going, it's okay, you can have it. No, you have it. No, it's okay, you
What,
have
the
it.
first song?
Yeah.
Both knowing
No.
deep inside we
had a
wanted to win
Yeah.
Melody.
No. I see
And
why.
I won.
Oh, of
Because
course.
Happy Wife, Happy
During
Life.
the Fighting
Yeah.
Lanterns,
Oh,
like,
okay.
the
There's a
song
little bit
that when it came
backstory
on,
for Toy
I
Story
cried,
for me,
even though
in
I've seen
terms
this
of
film
like
many
it proves
times,
why
I
it's
still
like
cried.
such a generational thing.
Yeah.
Like my dad
kinda leads
loves
me
Toy
to
Story.
Yeah.
Like it's the
soundtrack a
only
little bit.
Disney movies that
Do
he
you
would
want to
sit
talk
and
about that
watch.
or-
Yeah.
My brother
Yeah.
loves Toy Story. Again,
So
it's probably the only
basically,
Disney films he
for me,
would sit
I mean,
and watch.
And to point
Some of
out
the
that his
songs are a
brother is
bit
like
too
5 years
actually,
younger than me.
while
Yeah,
you're saying
exactly.
that, do you know who the
I remember
composer
as a
is?
kid,
No.
he
So
was
the
into Toy
composer
Story
for
more than me. He
the
actually had
soundtrack
all of the
is
toys.
Alan
In
Okay.
in fact,
And
he
did
would
Little
like
Mermaid.
go and
Your
dad
dad
still
still
has the
based
toys.
and Sausage Party.
Well, didn't we buy him?
So
we
kids, if you
bought
think
some
this,
bits
don't
and
watch
pieces.
that
Yeah,
one.
we bought
Not a
some
good film.
stuff.
Yeah, not
ago,
good
what
ones.
was
Um,
that?
But yeah,
But
so he
my
did
brother
all
had,
those films. He
like,
has a
Etch a
pretty
Sketch.
good
Like he
track
went out and
record.
bought those things that you
interesting
see in
for
the
me
film
because
because he wanted
some
the
of the
entire
songs are
collection.
really poppy, and
yeah, he
I
had
would
like
compare
all
them
of the
to,
random little ones as well.
I
which
guess
was really
early
cool.
Taylor
We're
Swift.
going back to Pizza Planet.
Yeah.
The reason we
Like-
brought that up is
the
because
first one,
we know
Yeah.
that the Pizza Planet track is
especially, and
iconic.
then that one that won the
And
Grammy.
I see the
Pizza
lights,
Planet
yeah.
track.
So is
Poppy.
Pizza.
So is
In a
Pizza.
way.
I want pizza
The rest
right
of
now.
the songs are really good.
Really,
They're
we
very
just had to-
classic Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pizza Planet
One that
track has
Mother
appeared in
Mother Knows
every
Best.
single Pixar
That's
film.
quite classic. It's
Except
quite
The
dark. I like
Incredibles.
that. I like
Really?
the darkest
We're
segments
going
of
to
this
have to
film
do an
especially.
entire
Yeah.
special episode about
I
where
just love the
these
songs.
pizza
It's one of those
Yeah, maybe we
soundtracks
should.
that I play on
It's
repeat
in
my
Toy Story
car
2 and 3 as well, but every
Just a
Pixar
great
film
sing-along.
bar The Incredibles.
Even Finding
Sing
Nemo.
on
I
songs
don't
in
know
there.
about the very late. Yeah, it is.
So the
Really?
yeah, it's
characters
outside
in
the
movie
dentist's
then.
office. if
Is
I remember.
Coco
So we've got
Pixar?
Rapunzel, who's played.
Yeah, I don't know if that includes the really
Okay.
latest one.
Alright.
By Mandy Moore.
I double
Okay.
checked that information
I
in
know
an
that
article that
name.
was a couple
I
of years
don't know
old, so it
anything
might
else.
not
I
be.
know
So
that
I
name.
haven't, I
Check that out.
haven't put down anything because I didn't know anything else. You got
Another
Flynn
fun
Rider, who's
fact I
played by
learned was
Zachary
that
Levi,
in
who's in
their
Thor
most
and
productive
Shazam.
week,
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I think is
Pixar
amazing.
animated
By the way.
Okay.
3.5
You've got
minutes of
Mother Gothel, who's played
animation.
by Donna
In a
Murphy,
week.
and she is in Spider-Man 2.
the most
That doesn't
productive week.
surprise me.
Just
Sure
mad.
who she plays.
No, I'm not sure either. And then, of course, there's Pascal,
it takes
the
a long time.
chameleon,
And you think about all the
Maximus
3D rendering and the
horse.
technology they
I
were
like
using in the
Pascal
early
Maximus.
So I was
90s
gonna
as well.
say,
Wasn't it the
who is
first
your
feature
favourite
computer
character?
animated?
I want
I
to
think
say
the
it was.
favourite
it
would
is.
be
I think that's why it's so highly
Yeah.
regarded
I
as
just
well,
love
because
so
it was the
funny.
first thing.
I
Like, no one
couldn't
had seen
pin
it.
down my favourite
Like
character.
with Jurassic
All
Park
I
and
could
stuff, like it was the first time
was
you'd see dinosaurs
pin
on
down
screen.
Maximus
This is
and
kind of like the
Flynn's
same thing. It's
relationship.
like the first
No.
computer-generated movie.
Those two as a
Okay.
pair.
You've seen other little bits and
they are
pieces, like Who
funny.
Framed
It's like
Roger
when,
Rabbit and stuff like that, but this
Rapunzel's
is the
got her
first
back turned
fully
and they're like elbowing each other inside.
animated thing.
And
And I saw, I noticed a
just-
few
it's
just
things in the
adorable.
movie,
My favourite
like
one is,
you pointed this one out,
where
the
he
Mickey Mouse
drops
clock.
all the apples as they
Hang
go
on,
off
we'll
in
get
the
to
boat.
those later.
And he's
Okay,
like,
all right.
"No,
We've got
I
a
bought all of
section
them.
about Easter
Most
eggs.
of
We'll come
them.
to that later.
But
But
a couple more facts
Most
for
of
you.
them.
Okay.
That's great. I love it.
It's a very quotable
Pixar
film.
originally wanted Jim
I
Carrey
think
to
so.
be in film.
And
Really?
I just again
He
the
was
characters in it,
pretty
they're just
expensive
funny.
in the
It's
90s,
not
I can imagine.
And
it's not
do you know
generic
Buzz's
Disney
original
princess.
name?
It's not.
Very
No.
much like
Luna Larry.
Luna Larry.
Moana, I
lame
guess.
is
That is pretty lame.
In a
Imagine
way,
that now.
but
Like,
it's
if
not
that
very
became a
generic
thing.
princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been doing that a lot
And he was
recently.
eventually named after Buzz
Yeah,
Aldrin.
like well, you have.
Which is kind of obvious. So.
Yeah,
I
I
never
guess.
But you
Put
look
that
at like
together, though.
Cinderella.
Really?
And,
Like,
and
just you
Really,
just
like
princesses
50s,
like
60s
Belle,
princesses. Yeah,
even
they're like
Belle, like
like classic
Sorry.
princesses.
You dumb.
But yeah, this is more
You
of a.
stupid. Get out of here.
I don't know. She, I mean,
she's
she
down
doesn't
to
have.
earth
She
almost.
doesn't
So
have shoes
let's move
throughout
on
the
to our
entire film. Even when
characters
she's
then.
meeting
So
Queen.
I didn't
Her mum and
really
dad,
get the full
yeah.
list of
I mean,
characters.
Flynn
in
is
the
I've got a
supposed
few.
to be like the
Obviously,
best
Woody is
thief
played
in
by
the
Tom
world.
Hanks,
You
who's
can
in
steal her
everything.
pair of shoes.
Buzz is
Come on, man. You're letting
Tim
side
Allen.
down. You're
Who's
letting
in
her
Santa
meet her
Claus
parents
films.
without
Yeah.
shoes.
Mr.
Really
Potato Head, who
I have to say,
I can't remember the name of the guy. I'm so sorry, but
feel like there's some kind of
something like that. But he's died recently.
there with his character.
He died
Okay.
recently. And
There's
Toy
so
Story
much
4 is going
in
to have
the
a
film where I
nod
just
to him.
feel
But
like it's
yeah,
an Indiana
like
Jones character.
But I mean,
Yeah.
the most
Even
well
down
known
to
are
looks,
Tim
amount
kind
of
of
time.
looks
and then you've got like
Harrison
you've got
Ford
like say
with
the
his hair
second
and
tier
everything.
characters, which are Mr. Head,
just a
Slinky
lot of
Rex,
reference. I think in
they're like
terms
the
of
second
action,
tier characters.
Speaking
Like,
spell.
when he's fighting with
speaking spell.
swords
Sea
and
Racer
things like
kind of
that,
character.
Yeah,
just
Bo
very
Peep.
Indiana
Bo Peep.
Jones at times.
And then obviously you've got
which
Andy
was
and
a-
Sid.
yeah,
and
you've got the human people.
Fair enough.
Human
So
people, who, by the
what
way,
about
look
scenes
awful
then?
in the
What
film.
do you
They
think
actually
the
do.
animation of the humans? We watched the Blu-ray
My
copy,
favourite
and
scene
I've got something else to say about that in a bit. But
was actually with
the
Rapunzel, where
human
she's
characters
saying,
look
"I'm never going
awful.
back." He did. Got a terrible person.
Really
I'm
blocky.
never going back there.
The
See, I put
animation
that as
in
my
general,
second favourite.
I
Is
love
the
it.
jump,
Actually
the jump
seeing,
cutscene, which is that, and then when she's putting Flynn in the
Andy's
wardrobe,
neck
Yeah.
and thinking,
and they just jump cut.
You don't see jump cuts much.
Not
in
rendered
this
You don't see
3D
it in
net, it's
animation
just like
very much.
square.
When we
It's
were watching
weird
it, I was
bumps
like,
sticking out of it. It was a
The
bit weird.
first
But
part, he went,
I mean, if
that
you
was
look
a
at
weird
Andy
part.
and
And
then
then
you
you
realise
realise
what was
what
happening,
versus
it's
Toy
like,
Story
oh, okay,
3.
that's
Even
quite
Toy
good
Story
then.
4, like they
But
don't
yeah,
look
I
the same.
really like that
Probably
too.
because of
So
the
you like to
animation's
like,
advanced. It
I'm
looks
so
weird.
happy.
So who is your favourite character?
Because people.
best day
Yeah, I'd have to say Rex. But not only because I love dinosaurs.
Because people were like that in real life.
Dinosaurs.
Sometimes,
I love
and it's just a
dinosaurs.
good reflection of
I just think he's
actual human
hilarious.
beings.
Yeah.
Like that kind of voice that comes out of him that you just don't expect from the first time you see him. Because he does the first time you see him, that raw on screen, and you're just like,
I don't know if you have one, but I
and
cannot.
then, like when he starts talking, you're
my
like,
other two
what?
favourites,
I
aside
just
from
remember
jump
my initial
cutscenes,
reaction
was
when
during
watching him for the first
Mother
time.
Knows
I was like,
Best.
huh?
Yeah.
because
I
the
love Rex,
screen
but,
went black and things were like jumping
do
out,
love
and
Mr.
obviously the
Potato
track.
Head.
He is
It's
funny.
trying to.
I think he's quite
It's trying to
adult
show
humoured.
Rapunzel
He's
that it's
also
scary
not
and that
like
the
he's very
life is
sassy
scary
in
and the
this
outside
film in a
world
way.
is scary,
He's
and
not
that's what
in
she's
the
trying to
others
do. But I
though.
just
He
think
very
it
much
looks
is a
really
lot
nice
more
how
sort
they've
of
done that.
Yeah.
sarcastic. He
And-
is anyway,
yeah,
but
and
like
yeah,
he's
and then
more
of
so in the
course-
first one. I feel like his
yeah,
character
of
changes
course,
over
the
time.
lantern scene.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
the
so.
Lantern
You can't not
but then
say
it's
that.
been a
You
long
can't
time
not
since I've
mention
watched
it.
Toy
It's
Story 2 and
visually
3, so
beautiful.
when we come to review those, I might change my opinion. But then we have to ask the question:
And
Are you Team Woody or Team Buzz?
And it's just
Oh, Team Woody all the way.
gorgeous.
See, I was
One
always
thing
Team
that's
Woody.
really
I agree
probably
with you
underrated
there,
about
and I
that scene
think
is
I
the
still am.
actual
But then after
animation of the
watching that
lanterns,
film
that they
again
all
just
moved
now,
different directions.
Yeah.
Woody's a
So
bit of a
it wasn't just
horrible.
like a
I was
copy
going
and
to
paste
use
of
a,
it.
I was going to use a
You know
not,
what I
a
mean?
not nice word then, but
I
Yes.
roughly know how animation's
bit
done.
of a-
Yeah,
and
he is. Like that moment
looks
when,
it
like you
took
said, he
some
tries to get
time
rid of
do
Buzz.
Yeah,
And
I think
thinks
so
of a whole
too. And
plan,
I
like
think
really
that
well thought out
the
plan to get rid of it.
malicious. I'm a little bit like, Woody,
Because obviously
what are
they
you
did.
doing?
What are you
I know
doing,
they
Mr.
really
Hanks?
although
the
himself,
the
but
city where the
disappointed.
the royals
And we
live.
have to talk, while we're talking about the
When
characters
you're
though,
in
we
it,
have to
it's
talk
very
about
visually appealing
Tom
as
Hanks'
well and
performance.
very detailed.
which is incredible.
When they're
I
out
said
there
during
on
this
the
film,
boat
right,
on
so
the lake in
I'm finding it
front.
really difficult now.
They really
to
don't
watch Toy
not
Story
dumbed down, but
because
like they don't
Tom
detail
Hanks is so
the city
famous
as
now.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
And I think
kind
that's
of
going to be a problem moving on
grey
with
it
the
a little
next
bit,
one.
Yeah.
so that
all I can
it
hear
all
is
just
Tom, and all I
pops
can
so much.
see
Yeah,
is
it's
Tom in
really,
my
really
head.
good.
And
And I'll definitely
even to the
say
point
there
where-
is some.
Sorry, I'm sneezing. That's just what you need.
It's fine.
when he was
They'll
talking,
excuse
all I
that,
could
don't worry about
think was Tom Hanks in the Carly Rae Jepsen
definitely
music
some
video.
kind of,
I really
like-
like. What is it? I really like you.
Little
Yeah.
Mermaid vibes
No,
there
it's
as well.
not.
No,
where
it
they're in
is.
the
It
boat
is.
facing
He's a
each
really,
other.
really like you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
He's in
it
that
does
brown
remind
coat,
me of-
isn't he?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like waving
yeah.
All I
everyone.
can think of is that because
It's just got
the
kind
only
of that
times you
little
really
callback, I
see
think,
Tom Hanks
Yeah.
bit of a
not
nod.
being an actor, not acting a part, is
In terms
in
of my
interviews.
least
Yeah.
favourite scenes,
And
if
in
you
that
can
music
pick
video,
one,
because he's kind of
it
like
was-
dancing,
Yeah.
just
I would
kind
say
of
the
being
first
himself and just
15
being a bit
minutes of the
silly.
film.
Yeah.
Why?
I just thought it was a
So
slow.
that's to me him on
I
more
thought
of a
it was
personal
slow.
level, and
It's
so that's
7
all I
a.m.,
can
the usual
see is
morning
him
lineup.
just sort of
Start
doing
the
little
jaws,
things.
sweep to
I
the
just
floors
think
or
of
Yeah, but it was
him on
before
that
that.
island on
There's like
Castaway,
some exposition
shouting at the
right as
coconuts,
film
going,
begins,
"What is that?"
like, sort of saying, and this is what happened.
This is the story of how I
I love it.
died.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
I kind
he
of
is
feel like
fantastic.
He is great.
that wasn't needed.
it
Like
just-
you
did
could
you
have just
know that,
started with her singing. Like
in
we
a lot
would
of
have
the
found out
toys
that it.
and a lot
with
of the
her,
like
that she was the
side
royal
gigs
family's
for
daughter. I
Woody.
think that just
His
would have been
brother,
really
right?
his
sad.
brother
Yeah.
doing the
I
voice.
think
That's
so,
hilarious.
but I
And
think
his
his
brother
brother
is
is the
doing the
story
voice
of
'cause
the
obviously
flower
He is so
Yeah,
of
that's
how
famous.
that
Yeah.
flower came
He can't
to
be
be.
that
And
much.
also,
No.
I quite like.
And it gives him
I
his
think
brother
trying
a
to
little
make
bit
it-
of fame.
A little bit of
Obviously,
money.
it aims to try and make it a bit more gender
Living off his
neutral.
brother's name,
It
isn't he?
helped having Flynn as the
Poor man,
introduction.
but yes,
you're
it's
right
his
there.
brother. So
Rather
like
than going
the
straight
action
into
figures and stuff that
you
has
know,
pull strings.
Yeah.
straight
That's
into
actually
a girly song.
that's actually Tom
All the
Hanks'
boys would have been
brother.
like, Mom,
was a bit
what
cheating.
have you
Yeah,
brought me
what-
to?
Like, think of it
What
really
is
like
this?
people that
For
don't
me,
realise
it might
it's
be
not
because
actually
I
him.
sort of went into it thinking, am I going to like
Trading
this?
standards.
And then I got into it after that point. But Yeah,
So the
I think
soundtrack.
upon second watch it wouldn't be as bad, but there is some quite heavy exposition at the beginning.
Okay.
Toy Story is one of my favourite Disney soundtracks.
Also,
it's
what did
Randy
you
Newman.
take away as the
Do you know what else he
moral of the
did?
story? Because we all know Disney has a moral.
He's like
Yeah,
a
of
swing
What
guy,
did
isn't he?
you
Like
put
a
as the moral of
swing.
the
See, this was
story?
quite
I'd say swing,
difficult.
kind of like
Oh,
swing
I'm
jazz.
talking
I was
what
trying
the
to
films
find
he
it,
did.
but
Oh,
you
I
do
don't know.
eventually
Monsters,
realise
Inc.
what it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's
That makes sense.
one of the things
Meet the
I guess
Parents.
Okay.
is
Cars 3.
looks aren't everything.
And The Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
That
Which
sounds
I
weird,
haven't
but-
seen.
Another princess
Flynn
film I
with the
haven't seen.
poster.
Yeah.
He keeps
I've seen the
mentioning
first
that
10
they
minutes,
didn't
and
get
then,
his
but
nose.
I tried to watch it
Then
on a
you have the
plane.
evil
We'll get round
old
to that.
woman
And
becoming young and beautiful.
sometimes I'm just
but
not in the
actually
mood to watch
inside
something I
she's
haven't seen
evil.
before on a plane,
Yeah.
so I
Then
just want something to listen to. Anyway,
Rapunzel
that's
turning brunette,
sidetracking.
He's like,
That's
I have a
fine.
thing for brunettes.
But you've got a friend of me is so
epic.
epic. Everybody
so
knows
good.
it.
Then the lizard
Is he-
changing
is he the-
colours. trees of green. Is that not an evil-looking guy who's like amazing on piano? Like, don't judge a book by its cover.
I have no idea.
Okay, I took a completely different
voice as well.
Sorry. So,
I really like the soundtrack. It was the first notable soundtrack from Disney, in my opinion. Because you had like Beauty and the Beast and stuff. But
Arthur's the one every day when you're walking down the street.
That one.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Believe in yourself.
Soundtrack is fantastic.
So that's the
score in general, like the music, very bombastic, very
I thought it was
Danny Elfman.
Believe in yourself and take chances and not let anything hold you back.
We're trying not to sing too much in this.
We do like going off into songs.
Because that's kind of what she did. She was brave. She was scared to go out, but she didn't, and she was brave.
A couple. First one was Sid's room, where we see all the deformed
she
toys.
Found out something brilliant about her life and found out that her mother was
that's mainly
not
because
an evil.
There was one bit that used to scare me as a kid, and there's a little toy that rolls. It's like a roller, and it's got like a head, like a point, like he points at Woody.
Oh, maybe this little
something about that scares the life out of me. Where he goes to turn his torch off. That used to scare me as a kid.
I'm talking
like full on. I used to close my eyes.
So yes, that's kind of how I
so that one stuck
with
me. The other one is Pizza Planet, the arcade,
so obviously that's the moral
the claw and everything. That's just
exactly
it's so iconic.
That's what I literally in my notes here it says favourite scene, and then in capital letters, the car. It's so vivid. Even that first shot where you see when the car, when the Pizza Planet
it was a bit
goes into and you see the outside. It just looks pretty for something that's so old, and the animation wasn't.
You
look at, like I said, humans. They just look not great, and
having her boyfriend.
But it just looks so
don't normally like
vivid
their boyfriends when they come.
It looks like a place you could go to.
I don't know
which you can technically.
It is, but for me, it's the only Disney movie
and then
I
the other
can
thing
think
I
of.
put, this isn't a scene per se, but this is where I thought best to slot it in. So
it was interesting though. It was interesting though because there was no blood on the knife
before
or whatever it was.
I don't think I have, but what I did notice for the first time is all the scuffs.
Well, you don't even see the wounds. You just see blood boards and the same clothing.
I've never adored as well.
I've never seen that before.
Lion King.
They weren't there. I swear they weren't there.
That's the good thing about Blu-ray.
What if they've been added in afterwards?
I don't think so.
Because there was one that I think it was, but I think it was the army men, and they were walking.
Yeah, there's a few adult like that, especially when they're going to hang him as well, and they
monitor down.
Yeah.
So they can hear
they show the gallows and everything.
That's
quite scary as a kid.
But then
with most Disney films, there's always something
maybe they
like
added
as a
those
kid. I was
stuffs.
like, they could have done.
Yeah, but you don't really understand, do you?
No.
I'd love to get a copy of the VHS and see if you
there is a
can
line
squint hard
when they
enough
go
to
into
see
the
it.
Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah, I feel like it's generally just.
He turns around and is like, oh, it smells
That's the thing. I don't know how it works in terms of transferring Blu-ray, like from VHS to Blu-ray, because it's not actual footage. It's not a camera.
That's the idea.
I think he was trying to say that it smells like dull and boring.
How does that work?
You must have to touch it up.
It smells bad. It's just not.
Let me know, guys.
But you could just say it smells like poo.
What about your least favourite scene?
Who just thought we'd sing solo as mentioned
doesn't
poo
exist
on
in
our
this film.
podcast?
Our first episode. It's just all downhill from here.
Toys are introduced.
Any
complete opposite to, which is why I said we'll come back to that.
No, I didn't get anything
else. And the reason being, not because I don't like the scene,
which is...
But because
so Rapunzel definitely has Stockholm
terrifying
syndrome.
And it's creepy.
She definitely likes it.
With me,
she definitely needs to look up. And if you don't know what Stockholm syndrome is, look it up. But basically,
you were watching horror films at like 7 though. I didn't watch a horror film until I was like 18.
You have a bond with your captor.
You didn't watch horror
Obviously, she doesn't know that mother is her captor. But once she knows her mother's kind of bad,
I kind of put that down.
She still goes crying back to her mother at one point.
In my
notes
notes here for least favourite scene, it just says
because she thinks Flynn has left her.
We've already got
so she goes back to her captor. And at this point, she definitely is
what do you think the moral of the story
realised
that's
a little
quite
bit
difficult. It's
you're
obviously
so bad at picking out morals.
It's quite hard. I mean, like sometimes you get obvious ones, right? Like, like Coco. Coco has an obvious moral to the story.
She's in chains and she's like, down in the basement.
It's just like family. Cherish your family, all that kind of stuff.
But
this is kind of like
there is a basement. Like
the toys.
You've got 80 feet up and 80 feet down.
The moral behind Toy Story is about change.
Also, where is her
because they're moving house and Woody is scared about being overtaken by Buzz.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just kind of that change can be a good thing.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be worried and paranoid.
In the original story,
he was paranoid that Buzz was going to take over
when she turns 12. Not when she's a baby, but
he
she
loved
gets
them
locked in
both
the
just
shower
as much as each other.
Yeah, you're right there.
So I think it is all about change. And as I say,
because where was she?
The way that the toys are not they portrayed the parents and Andy as being absolutely okay with the house move, and they're looking forward to it, and
it's round.
everything like that. But the toys are terrifying.
Maybe she lives in a little
cupboard. It's almost like they've all got their own moving buddies,
what the hell?
and
that actually leads me nicely onto other goofs and continuity errors. Yeah, that is my favourite thing about film. It's kind of an adult in that respect, and I think that's so. My main
I think that's what the moral of the story is. Change can be a good thing.
Every time I watch a film, it's like,
and not let it bother you.
That's wrong. That's wrong. Some of my favourite movies of all time, you're like, oh, that's wrong.
So what about being an adult watching this film?
The floating lanterns appear on her birthday.
Yeah. The only real thing, one of the two things I picked, obviously one of them being the tortured.
Right, and then the first year after that,
do you know what?
they put the lanterns again.
At least to me, I feel like everyone knew someone that had a kid that was torturing.
Because she's a 1-year-old child at this point. She doesn't know when her birthday is. She isn't going to have a clue. She will have seen the lanterns because you can see them from the tower where they live.
Oh yeah.
Right. So if I was capturing a child,
this is getting weird.
Obviously not. If I was going to do that, I would just change the day by a few days, because if it happened on her birthday every year, she's going to start to think it's something special for her birthday, especially if she's got no friends, no outside influence. She's just literally got you and her. She's going to see those lanterns, know that it's her birthday, and go, that might be something to do with me. I need to go and see that. Just to save that tiny risk. Surely. And also, and that's the thing, how does she know what day she was born? Did she capture her on her birthday? Or the day of her birth? But that's irrelevant anyway. Why would you not just change the birthday? Because everybody in that city knows when her birthday is. Yeah. So you would just change it?
You think so?
Because that would be, when's your birthday? Do you know what I mean? You would just change it.
That's a bit weird.
That's my biggest.
That's a massive
That's
hole.
my biggest plot hole. And also, this is a slightly less big plot hole. You know when she goes into the city?
Yeah.
And all the little girls braid her hair?
Yeah.
And then she goes off for a few hours and has a load of fun. And then she ends up back at the tower and her mother takes her braids out. Why is her hair straight?
Magic hair?
No, that's not... When you braid your hair or you plait your hair, it comes out curly.
I mean, I guess you could say that the weight of her hair kept it straight.
No, it still would have waves in it. It would still have kinks. It could not be that poker straight. Also, how does she clean that hair?
Because Disney, okay? Just because Disney.
Oh, wow. So, there were some other Easter eggs in the film.
Sure.
Did you notice any?
I did not spot any.
Did you notice any continuity errors?
No.
No, you don't do that. That's my job.
I struggle with that kind of thing.
Did you spot any Easter eggs?
No, I was looking throughout the entire movie trying to spot things from other films, and I couldn't see anything.
So I noticed 2 things, and I found 2 more on the internet, so I'll talk about those. The one that I noticed is in the house there are nods to other princesses. So there's, on the paintings on the wall, there's an apple, which is supposed to represent Snow White.
Okay.
There is a spinning wheel from Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, right, yeah.
There is... in Rapunzel's room, the wardrobe looks like the wardrobe from Beauty and the Beast. Sorry if you just heard that. I keep smacking my glasses on the microphone and it makes a clink noise, so sorry about that. What was I saying? The wardrobe looks like the wardrobe from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, okay, I see that now.
Just a different colour.
Yeah, I see that now.
So that's interesting. The other thing I noticed is in the very first scene when... I was about to say Moana then. I think that's because you were talking about Moana earlier.
Yeah, probably.
When Rapunzel is a baby... And, you know, she's in her cot and she's like...
Yeah.
There's a mobile, you know, like those little things.
You got the... Yeah, because I was looking at those and I was trying to see if that was anything, but I couldn't...
There's a green chameleon.
Yes, I did spot that.
Which kind of foreshadows Pascal.
No, do you know what I was thinking?
It was Pascal.
No, I was thinking Rango.
You were thinking Rango. That's not even a Disney film, is it? That's DreamWorks.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think that's DreamWorks.
Seriously?
I think so. Alexa... Is Rango a Disney film?
I know about 467 Walt Disney Pictures movies, including The Lion King, Toy Story, Monsters Inc.
Well, this isn't helping, is it? Alexa, stop. She's useless. I'm pretty sure I'm going to Google it. Hang on. You keep talking.
that brings me to something I wanted to talk about in terms of the whole ideology of the movie is very much close to Walt's ideology of how he did films. Like, there's always like the dark moment in the film, and I don't just. It feels very classic Disney in terms of there's always like that royal presence, right, with Cinderella, and yeah, it's just general. Like, I feel like this would be a film Walt would have released. Mm-hmm. It's very close to that.
Yeah. I found out that it is in fact a Paramount Pictures film.
Is it?
Ironically, Aaron is wearing a Paramount t-shirt right now, so that's quite amusing. It's Paramount.
Okay, my fault. Rango is not a Disney film.
But yes, so the chameleon was in the mobile, which I think is foreshadowing. And then I've got a few others that I found up on the internet.
Okay.
Oh no, there's one other thing I noticed. You know when we see Maximus when he is trying to chase Flynn?
Yes.
He has his hair on his like head and neck. It's like styled in a certain way. It's obviously... I can't describe it, but when you watch the film and notice, it's like in sections and it's obviously styled almost. Right. But then it's almost like in bunches. You know, like Rey's hair is in like Rey from Star Wars. It's like 1, 2, 3 bunches down her head. Yeah. It's kind of like that, but horse's hair going all the way down. It's in like bunches.
Yeah.
As soon as he's on their side, when Flynn goes flying and lands on Maximus, his hair is down and disheveled.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of like his rebellion against the kingdom as well, to help Flynn, because he knows...
Yeah, he's kind of changed
from their side to their... from one side to the other. Which I did notice, which I thought was quite sweet. And then the two things I found on the internet is that the Queen's necklace actually is a hidden Mickey.
Okay.
So you'll have to have a look at a picture of the Queen to see that. Not Mother, the Queen.
Yeah.
And also Pinocchio is in the Snuggly Duckling.
What?
During I've Got a Dream, he's up in the rafters.
That's cool.
Yeah, I saw a screenshot of it and I thought...
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I love Pinocchio. There was one reference I saw that wasn't technically Disney, but it is now. And that's that there's a kind of an Emperor Palpatine reference.
Oh, yeah.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
So when the old mother turns old again and dies, she turns to dust. She pulls a hood over her head, and she actually looks like the Emperor.
Yeah, because she's getting older and older and older.
And she looks really just like disfigured. And then like she falls back out of the window and falls down. And that's exactly how the Emperor died. Like, not out of a window, obviously, but like fell down
out
a hole.
Spaceship.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional, but it feels like it.
Yeah,
it
especially because she's wearing like the black cloak and...
Yeah, and that could be going back to what you were saying about trying to make it gender neutral and having other things in there that would make a young boy, like, excited about watching something.
Yeah. Okay. So, before we move on to other sections, is there anything else about the film you want to talk about?
No.
Okay.
We've covered everything.
Okay. So, I wanted to talk for a minute about sequels.
Okay.
So, there is a short... which is called Tangled Ever After.
Yeah.
Which is basically the wedding.
Happily Ever After. Sorry.
Are you singing Happily Ever After? Of course you are. So we watched the short as well. Yeah. And it's basically just their wedding. And Maximus and Pascal accidentally lose the wedding rings and then go chasing after it. So what did you think of that?
I loved it.
You did, didn't you?
It was so good. Yeah. I think because it was like the pace, because you can get the pacing so on point in a short like that.
Yeah, it's only 6 minutes long.
Yeah,
so.
like everything's going, like there is so much going on in that short 6 minutes or whatever it is. And just like the pacing, it was just like, it had me on edge as well, like watching the ring fly off to this part and this thing and this thing, and it kept causing things.
It just made you, oh, for God's sake, every time that, like, his teeth were minuscule millimeters away from it.
I was on the edge of my seat watching that, which surprised me. I loved it. I thought it was so well done, and you could kind of bolt that on to the end of the movie almost as an ending thing.
Yeah.
But I can see why they didn't do it, but at the same time, yeah, like the short was so good. I've always liked Disney shorts.
So the reason they didn't do that is probably because of the TV series that's come out of Tangled.
Is there?
There is. It's called Tangled Before Ever After, and it takes place between the end of the film
and the
wedding.
Ah.
And it's just the mishaps and miscreants of the gang. I have not.
We should watch
it. It's a different type of animation. It's like, like Disney.
Almost like the cartoony
it's a Disney,
Hercules.
Yeah, it's like a Disney Channel animation. So I've never been a huge fan of watching
Maybe it will go over to Disney Plus.
Disney Plus is what I was thinking. So potentially there's a lot of shorts, TV series. There's like Big Hero 6 TV series and Lilo and Stitch series I need to watch, and hoping they'll all be on there.
Well, hopefully we'll do a podcast about a whole series at some point.
And then they started to do a sequel to Tangled, so Tangled 2, a feature film. But then as they started, someone literally put, this is genuine, they posed the question, but she's cut off her hair, it's over.
Yeah, but the magic is in her tears.
I know, but the story of...
What if someone... Like, I could come up with a... Like, this is the cool thing about Disney that I always thought, like, sequels always work. There's always something you can do. And with this one, you could easily have some... maybe, like, relative of the mother. Like, what if it was she had, like, a sister or, like, whoever, and she captures the tears...
It would just be pointless, though.
Like, in a jar, like, captures the tears or something.
It would just be pointless.
I don't think it would. New characters, new setting.
I do.
You know me, though. I'm a sequel guy. I love sequels.
I know.
More films are better.
I don't think it needs a sequel. I think it's good as it is, and I hope that they never do. I love it.
You know they are going to, though, don't you? Because they're doing Frozen.
Well, no, but Frozen came out after Tangled.
Yeah.
And there's a Frozen 2 in the works already. So you think if that's in the works already, they'd have a Tangled 2 in the works already, and they don't.
It'll still happen.
I don't think it will.
Okay.
We'll find out one day, won't we? Okay, so the next section I want to talk about is links to Walt Disney World. Now, as we mentioned in our introduction episode, we are obsessed with Disney World as well as Disney in general.
Yeah.
So I like to add a little tab on the end about different links to Walt Disney World that there are for Tangled. So firstly, the city where the royals live is actually inspired by Fantasyland. So they designed it off of the back of Fantasyland.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
also it looked like Norway, like at Epcot a little bit.
Yeah, you thought it looked a bit like Arendelle, didn't you?
Yeah, it does.
Frozen.
They could easily be set in the same place.
Yeah. But so that's one thing. The other thing I mentioned when we were watching the film last night is the scene where they have come out of the Snuggly Duckling and they're going through the cave.
Yeah.
And they end up in this like cavey area.
Yeah.
Where they've got Maximus on one side. Yeah. You've got the two ugly goons on the other side. Mm-hmm. You've got the royal guards on another side. They're all trying to get away and they swing with Rapunzel's hair. I mentioned yesterday that I thought that looked a lot like Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, it does.
Like aesthetically. The rock work and the colour. It looked just like Thunder Mountain. And I think I said to Aaron, I bet that is because if Thunder Mountain ever declines in popularity and they need to give it a boost, I'll give it a Tangled overlay and say it's their escape. Or Indiana Jones, I don't know. But I can see it happening.
They are always trying to like put, especially recently, they're trying to integrate more IP into the parks.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't surprise me. Especially something like Splash Mountain with its problems with what that's linked to. It wouldn't surprise me if that got rethemed as well at some point. I just think that's going to happen. But there is the lantern photo spot, right? There
is, yes. So there's a photo spot that happens in the evening where you can have your photo with a plastic fake.
But we should so do that.
I know. With a lantern, and and also the toilets in Fantasyland are themed too, because they've got the bunting around the edge and behind Gaston's tavern.
Yes.
And they've got all the bunting there and everything. But anyway, you can have your photo with the lantern, and they do that in the evenings only. And I'd love to do it, but the queue is always massive because it's such a popular photo spot.
Because they've got the little tower, right? They've got Rapunzel's tower there.
They do,
well.
Yes, yeah. So they've got a little copy of the tower. So that's another thing. So to wrap this up, what is your opinion on Tangled? And can you give me a rating out of 10 Mickey ears?
Can we go half? Can we use halves here?
I've used half.
To clarify. Okay, so I've gone for 6.5.
Oh, it's gone lower than me.
Oh, there are movies that are better. There are movies that are worse, and it sits just like above average for me. Okay. Like, there are some really good moments in that film, but there are a lot of moments where I'm kind of like, yeah, this is fun, but I'm not rushing to see it again.
Okay. So I gave the film 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
I think it's visually gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think the songs are really catchy. I think it's not too. I'm not one for this will sound controversial, but it's like it's got to have women in it and it's got to have this.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily one for worrying about that. If a person is right for a role, a person is right for a role, or what have you. And I think it's very good at being gender neutral.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I'm not a girly girl, and princesses and making dresses and balls and princes and glass slippers is not me.
Yeah.
Generally, whenever the two main characters, whenever the two main characters of a film fall in love, I generally roll my eyes.
Yeah.
It does annoy me a little bit.
I start crying, so
you cry and I roll my eyes. So I'm never it's usually followed with for God's sake. So I quite like this one again because it's quite gender neutral and it's quite funny. I do think it's funny because I think the interaction between all of the characters, and when Rapunzel keeps like smacking people over the head with a frying pan, and then everybody, at the end when all the guards have got frying pans, and you think, oh, that is funny. And I just think that it's funny, it's visually beautiful, the story is pretty interesting. It's not like so tied up to the original story of Rapunzel.
Yeah,
they've kind of put their own spin on it. I just think it's a great film.
Fair
play. So it gets 8.5 Mickey ears.
Interesting.
Yes. So I guess that wraps up for today's discussion. So we better pick next week's film. Would you like to do the honours?
You got a friend in me.
Oh, have you got Toy Story?
We do.
Oh, okay. So we've got Toy Story coming up for the next one then. So we will get ahead and watching that, and we will be back with that review. As I say, as we are a new podcast, we would love to hear your feedback. So please, can you leave us a comment on whatever platform you're listening to us on, or leave us a message on one of our social media pages. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at MouseHousePod. Or if you'd like, you can email us. We'll leave all that information in the show notes of this podcast. So yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. And just remember as well, we have a Patreon account set up too. We'll leave that in the show notes as
well. See you next time and have a magical day from both of us at Mouse House.
Bye.
Bye.